Welcome to the No More Late Fees podcast. I'm Danielle.
And I'm Jackie, and we're just two best friends and ex-Blockbuster employees rewatching some of the best and worst movies from the late 90s and early 2000s. This week, we are talking about the 2000s horror movie Killjoy with our returning guest, Anwar Ali. Welcome, Anwar.
Hello. Thank you for having me back.
It is a pleasure. You always bring us gems, I tell you that. My God.
I'll try. I gotta go through my memory banks to find the perfect movie for y'all.
Yes. And if you want to get to know Anwar a little better, pause, check out their trailer on our past episodes of Demon Knight and Deliver Us from Eva, as well as the trailer that dropped earlier this week. But before we dive in, let's get into some
housekeeping.
If you love the podcast and you want to support us, here are a few ways that you can.
You can write us a review. I know, Danielle, you say this every episode because we need more reviews. It helps feed our soul. Here is a new one that we just got, and the title is The Movies That Made Us. Saw these fellow podcasters on IG and had to take a look at what they were offering. This is the best source for all things 90s and 2000s, and such a fun show to listen to. Can't wait as you put out more Beyond the Cape podcast. Thank you. Really appreciate that. It's so nice.
And if you like what you hear and want to make a one-time donation, aka buy us a virtual cup of coffee, head on over to ko-fi.com/no-more-late-fees.
And don't forget, we've got merch. Christmas is coming up. Hanukkah's coming up. Everything's coming up. You want to buy some gifts. Kwanzaa.
Winter solstice.
Go to our nomorelatefees.redbubble.com site and check out our store and rock some gear. Let's get into the movie.
So a clown doll, played by Angel Vargas, is brought to life by black magic and tries to kill those responsible for murdering its owner. It stars Angel Vargas, Vera, Lee Marks, Dee Dee Austin, Kareem J. Grimes, Napiera Groves, Corey Hampton, Rani Goulant, Arthur Burghardt, and William L. Johnson. It was directed by Craig Ross Jr., written by Carl Washington. But before we start, let's get into our ratings rewind.
So, you know the drill. Before we get into the movie, we will reveal the rating our Y2K versions of ourselves would give. Then at the end, we'll see if our current selves agree with our initial rating. Our scale consists of would buy it again.
The best, would play on repeat.
5-day rental.
Would watch again.
2-day rental.
Okay, but nothing to write home about.
And same-day rental.
Trash. Straight up trash.
Yeah, like a old ice cream truck waiting for you to die.
Sucking you into a realm. So, Anwar, what is your Y2K rating of this movie? You can't be ashamed now.
So my Y2K rating?
Yes.
But I mean, here's the thing. I thought it was trash then, but I feel like I'd be lying if I said I wouldn't watch it again. So, Bo. So I would say that back then, because I had a higher opinion of myself and I took things way more seriously, I would actually say it was same day rental back then. Like I just thought this was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. I couldn't believe they would put this out.
And here we are watching it. Danielle.
Thank God that I never saw it. So I
saw it on the shelf.
Yes, I do remember it on the shelf when we were at Blockbuster. So there's that. But it had a killer looking clown on it. So there was no way in hell I was watching it because I was scared.
A wise choice.
Now, I'm gonna be honest. The fun facts tonight, very bare. Bare. Like,
Oh, I got some though. I know
oh,
some.
thank the Lord. I can say that apparently the budget was $150,000 for this movie. I saw some conflicting numbers. One said 150,000, while another said like I think 180,000 with the combined of doing both movies. So y'all can take from that what you want. It was first released on DVD by Full Moon Home Video in November of 2000, then again in 2001. So this was like a direct to video gem.
Which I feel like is our first direct to video movie. We've done DComs, but I think this is our first direct to video.
You might be right about that. It won't be our last. But there's nothing like your first.
Listen, it was released direct to video. Well, it was on VHS and DVD. So, like, it was on the cusp of, so it was a special kind of movie. The writer, actually, he went to CSUN, California State University, Northridge. And he wrote this when he was in school, and he got the opportunity to do this film. And I just know he knew he was about to be a star. The moment this, like, I just knew he was like, hey, I got a movie getting produced by a company, and I wrote the script, and he's in it. The writer is the guy that's at the end of the movie. That, like, when they go to that club at the end of the movie, and he's like, "This is my girl."
Sam from Class. Or whatever his name was?
Sam is the writer who was a student in a university at the time.
What?
There was acting.
There was
attempts at it.
People were there.
People were there. I am not an actor, and I do not take the profession of acting lightly. But at some points I wanted to say, Coach, put me in, because I feel like maybe I could have done a better job at some of this stuff. And that's saying a lot.
Yes. And I feel like this is one of those films where no matter how good you are, you might not be good in it.
Fair.
Like, something about sometimes I think about what it would be like to make this movie, and I just wonder what, like, the set looked like without all the extra, like, music and all of, like, it just feels like it would be echoey and creepy, and like, why are we here? Like, why are we doing this? Like, I wonder. And there's a making of documentary that was on the original DVD release that is on YouTube, of the making of the film, with interviews from all of the actors.
What?
And every single one of them is like, well, I thought I could bring so much to the character. They're like talking like they're doing Shakespearean work.
All right, quick question. Out of all of the characters and the actors, who was the best actor on this movie?
Michael. I actually felt bad for Michael at the beginning. Everyone else, I'm like, I don't know what y'all are doing, but
I'm gonna go with the homeless man. He was delivering for me. That when he was like, "Don't forget the doll."
Y'all named the two actors that worked the most out of, like, because currently Michael is on All American on the CW, and Arthur Burghardt, he did like all of these, like, these very popular cartoons in the 80s and 90s. He did the voices. So you name the actors, that makes sense. Who did the best? Who gave the best performance?
The doll.
Woo. Penny Ford, the singer at the end. She was very convincing as a singer, because she is Penny Ford. Penny Ford was good. I mean, I don't actually hate Angel Vargas's performance as Killjoy. I don't think it's actually bad.
No.
I think it's actually I think he was having fun and he was very committed. I just think that they didn't pull the reins on him. as filmmakers, and he didn't have like the best material to work with,
Mm.
and so his work isn't reflected. Because if you saw the Jacksons in American Dream, he played Tito in the Jacksons in American Dream.
I did see that one.
He did. He played Tito, so I'm like, he can't be that bad.
Right.
But like, yes. So I would say Penny Ford and Angel Vargas for me.
Oh,
Who?
I've got it, Danielle. The
Uh-huh.
Foley artist on this movie was doing what they thought was the Lord's work. Every single sound effect was so over dramatic. And like, no one walks that loud. Like, why? Like, it was, the sound effects were so ridiculous. I'm like, okay, I'm actually enjoying it because of this.
I got something for you though.
Oh.
Ooh, I'm
One of the
excited.
one of the people that worked on sound of this film won an Academy Award for The Hurt Locker.
God damn. The start of legends.
So
I
the
knew
biggest
it.
star,
See?
the biggest star of this movie is one of the sound people.
Well, did you have another question, a follow-up question, Danielle?
You know what? Let's just get into it because
Okay.
I do have many questions as we go through it.
We have no answers.
Mm,
I can tell you now.
like,
no answers.
how long was that shower?
5
When
days.
they keep going back, to the same shower.
Yeah.
Listen, that is Napiera Danielle Groves, who is actually a very good actress. She has done a lot of things. She did that film Airborne with what his name is, but she did the Airborne film in the early '90s, and then she was directed by Mike Nichols on Broadway, and did Spamalot.
Mm.
She graduated from Howard. She is trained. I don't know how she accidentally got in this movie. I don't know what happened, but I know she's embarrassed by this movie. She has to be. Like,
Also, where was her shower cap? That was also my other question. Not with that fresh pressed perm.
She had, yeah, she just had it clipped up.
No, not with that long ass shower.
but she didn't get wet either, though. If you noticed, she didn't get wet. It literally went to one part of her body.
It was
Gratuitous, just gratuitous.
Oh,
Mhm.
100%.
And I don't know how. Like, I don't know how. Like, I've met her before. Is what I'm saying, and I'm like, I don't, and I'm scared to ask her. Like, why did this movie happen? Like, I get some of them, but like, why were you in it? Like,
Yeah. Well, so is she the one that's singing in the very beginning?
no,
no, the
don't
one
think
that's
so.
singing in the very beginning is Dee Dee Austin, who her only thing I know she's ever done besides this was she was in like some BET like short film.
Okay.
Mm.
Because that wasn't great.
Mm-mm.
And she thought she was the next Whitney Houston. Like, she was
Yeah,
like,
she's like, I'm gonna be an escape right now.
yep.
And it was
100%.
2000, so she was like, I'm probably gonna replace somebody in 702 or something.
Mm.
But it was, yes, she was.
Not
Yeah.
great.
So what I didn't understand is this.
Yes.
The movie, like, the girls are up against a fence,
Yes.
a chain fence. And like, were they there waiting for T-Bone and Lorenzo to come pick them up? Or did they just pull up on them? Like, was there ever a thought that we need to get past this fence? Because I was very confused by that, especially when Michael got his ass beat.
Yeah.
And how old are they?
Because Michael, who was a grown-ass man, asked Jada to homecoming. I'm like, oh, I thought we were like in college or something.
Yeah.
We don't look like we're high school age to be going to a homecoming event. And then, like, I guess I I never could tell whether Jada actually liked Michael or not.
Yeah, I wasn't sure either. But why was Lorenzo so pressed? And why was T-Bone so ready?
And why was he only hitting his book bag?
Right.
And how did he get so injured by only hitting his book bag? But I think first of all, I think the reason why we're not clear on Jada's feelings towards Michael is because the actor wasn't very clear on her intentions towards. No shade, no shade. But yes, and I think the film was shot in a studio
Mhm.
in LA. It was like it's still there. And if you go to the website, I forget the name of it, but if you go to the website of the studio, because I was very curious about where this film was shot, like, so I looked it up years ago. If you look on, you could tell where they shot each scene. And so there's a chain fence in one part. There's like empty bedroom. So it looks very much like the movie because you're supposed to furnish it if you're going to rent out this space, but they didn't really furnish it. So
Right.
then I'm like, why were they standing by the fence? Because they had nowhere else for them to stand, and they needed to begin the
Right.
movie.
Those empty boxes, those empty boxes.
Yes,
Right.
like you see the way, like when you go inside the ice cream truck and you just get inside of this like warehousey space. That's what the studio like looks like. It does that's what it looks like when you rent it out. You're supposed to fill it in and make it look like something else, but they just rented it
just
out.
just hay on the ground and random empty boxes.
So
Yes.
so we see Michael talking to his crush and her friend. And then Lorenzo, T-Bone,
And baby boy.
and baby boy pull up in his convertible car. I don't know what kind it was. I don't know. And they are pressed that this very nerdy small man who is of no competition to them, and they proceed to beat the shit out of him. And what kills me more than anything while I was watching this scene, I was looking at two things. Is that a JanSport? And two, please don't step on his glasses. He needs them. As a child who grew up with glasses, there is nothing that's going to get you beat by your mama more than losing or breaking them glasses. And his glasses were intact. I was like, whoo, they didn't break the glasses. And here comes goddamn Lorenzo cracking them damn glasses. That was what I was upset about. Not even that he was getting beat up like that.
Thomas J can't see without his glasses.
Right.
Well, they had to, I think he stepped on the glasses and they only had one shot probably, and they only had one pair of glasses to break. And so it was better to break them on camera than for him to for them to accidentally break the prop. Probably.
Yeah.
I'm trying to justify some things about this film. I'm trying to make sense of it. But yes, I mean, they pulled up in the car and they're upset. And I actually witnessed this happen in real life when I was in high school, where it was this nerdy guy talking to this girl, and then this guy like runs up and he starts like, don't talk to my girlfriend. I was like, I can believe that. What I don't believe is the line where Jada says, you should go home now. If Lorenzo sees you talking to me like this, he'll kill you. Like, it was just so dramatic. Like, why are you with him if you know he gon' like, what's happening here?
He is
And
listed
then
as a gang member in the credits. And I'm like, girl, why? You in danger, run.
the other part was they're on the other side of this chain fence. And as T-Bone is really giving it to him,
Yeah.
they're like,
It's chains.
they're pretending. They're not even touching the fucking chain at this point. They're like, oh no, Michael, how do we help? And then they're like, oh, it's open now. Like, it was what's happening?
And did you notice that T-Bone, or not T-Bone, Lorenzo stomped on the glasses wearing slides?
Yes, I did.
I'm like, he's in sandals and crushing this boy's glasses.
Well, but okay,
So,
so what I don't understand about this part is like you have humiliated and beaten Michael down, right? So why in the next scene are you coming to his house and invite, like after the doll thing, which we'll get into, but why are you asking him to come outside? Like baby boy is calling out to him and saying, I just want to be your friend. I promise everything is okay. Like, first of all, Michael, are you stuck on dumb? And secondly, y'all already beat and humiliated him. What was the point of this?
so they could threaten him with a gun.
Oh my
but
God.
they did not know that Michael practices black magic.
Right.
Another
And-
set with nothing there. How
Yes!
much cost for them candles? Let's
That's the
get this
same
doll.
bedroom. That's the same bedroom that you see later in the movie. It's like one room and they just move some stuff around. Well, with this one, they just move stuff out of the room.
Right.
But my favorite part of this scene is when he said, by the power invested in me. Come alive, Killjoy. Come alive. Come alive, Killjoy. Come alive.
And like, was that the only ritual? Like, you literally sit in a circle with the candles and you hold the puppet doll up, and that's it? And you get married to it?
You're lawfully husband and wife.
Don't make no sense.
None.
By him doing the voodoo spell, that's what brought Lorenzo and them over, because that was part of the plan. But he didn't listen.
Stop
Maybe
trying.
Because later in the movie, they made mention of, oh, Michael, like, invoked Killjoy, but he didn't show up in time and Michael died anyway. I'm like, so Killjoy was just late to the party?
Honestly, I just feel like what would have connected that would have been like Michael missed a key component, which was a blood sacrifice or some sort of blood like ritual, and him getting shot completed it. Unfortunately, he died. That's what like would have made sense to me.
Yeah. I feel like there were a lot of pieces of this movie where I was like, this has the potential to be a really good premise or catalyst for something. And then it goes absolutely nowhere. And you're just like, oh, well.
Yes, it feels like somebody wrote it and it was like the first draft and it didn't go through several more drafts, because it's like there's something good there, but maybe you need to sharpen your writing abilities and you need to have people on set that know that it's not good and like help you along the way, you know?
Yeah. Like it was just like in places it was almost good and then it wasn't.
Yeah.
And then you're just
like the general concept of like, okay, there's this nerdy guy and he's asking this girl out. It's getting very Valentine, right? And and then she's like, nah, I can't because I'm with somebody. It's like, okay, I get it. Cool. They attack him. Cool. Then he's like, I'm gonna do some sort of black magic spell on this clown doll for some reason. And see, that's the part that needs to be developed. Like, why is it a clown? Why is it a clown?
I think it should be some sort of like, what do you call it? You know how we know that Candyman exists? You know, it's some sort of tale that everyone knows about. And maybe it's not the doll, maybe it's just invoking the spirit of it. It's just like, there's so many angles that we could have gone down this path. But
if we had done the ritual on like a Ken doll, would Killjoy appear as a Ken doll? Like, did it have to be this specific clown doll, or is it just anything he can embody? I want to explore this further.
Or maybe we can watch the, what is it, 6 sequels that this movie has?
Well, I will say this. So the way Killjoy started off is, in the late 90s and the early 2000s, there were a lot of like black direct to DVD films
Yeah.
being made for low budgets. This was Full Moon Entertainment's like way of trying to go into that arena, right? And so they had this branch called, what was the name of it? It wasn't Full Moon, it was Big City Productions.
Hmm.
There was this branch, Big City Productions, and so they had this film. They had Ragdoll. They had the horrible Dr. Bones. These were all like very low budget,
Black
really,
exploitation-esque.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so big, like these films were made, and they actually, I'm sure they actually performed pretty well. So Killjoy 2 was released, and it was also sort of in this vein of it being like black energy. And then Killjoy, the rest of them, there's hardly any black people in them at all, because what's happened is Full Moon has like taken over the Killjoy name, and essentially, and unfortunately, I don't know how he feels about it, but like the writer of this was actually a young guy, a young black guy that went to the California State University, Northridge. He wrote this film. He got with Mel Jackson Jr., who was the producer on this film, who also produced like Ragdoll. He was worked at Big City Productions. Mel was the black guy in that movie Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
black guy who said he had to feed his kids. He is the producer of Killjoy. So he was behind these films. But unfortunately, I think the films have gotten out of his hands and they're basically in Charles Band's hands now. And so Full Moon basically does whatever they want with the Killjoy franchise, even though they have absolutely nothing to do with this original film. It's
That's a
interesting
damn
to me.
shame. That
Yeah.
is really sad. As crazy, ridiculous as this movie is, that is unfortunate because the character itself has potential.
Yeah.
I don't know what these other ones are like, these sequels
Yeah.
are, but
Yeah, I mean, Killjoy was obviously a black man in this one, right?
hmm.
In the second film, all of the rest of the actors are black and Latinx, but the thing is that Killjoy was, I think, I don't know if Angel Vargas didn't want to do it, if they didn't even offer it to him, whatever.
They
He was
did
for,
offer it to him,
yeah,
and he was slated to reprise the role in Killjoy 2, Deliverance from Evil 2002, but declined in favor of other projects. Trent Haga was cast in the second movie
yeah.
instead and reprised the role in the subsequent sequels Killjoy 3, Killjoy Goes to Hell, and Killjoy Psycho Circus in 2016.
That sounds like Full Moon Productions is basically saying, yeah, we asked him, but he didn't want to do it, and we're just gonna pretend like he wanted to do it because what other projects did Angel Vargas have?
Maybe
If
they
he didn't
weren't
want,
going to pay him what he probably
yeah,
deserved. Yeah.
yeah, I believe he didn't want to do it partially because of money, or maybe because he was embarrassed by what he did. Because a lot I've looked up like these they don't have it on their resumes.
Damn, I wouldn't put it either. I'm not gonna lie.
Like they're acting like it never happened.
Is Killjoy the Shazam of this time period?
It's just
Because
Yes, but it exists. Like we all know it.
it's not a
Like you can
Mandela
pretend
effect.
you can pretend you weren't in it, but I can show it to you like you were in this.
They're just like, no, that wasn't me.
But like Trent Haga is a white man. So
yeah,
so Killjoy, and I don't know, is it? I guess you could say it's kind of like blackface because Killjoy has like an afro, and
yeah.
so like they changed it, but like over time, Killjoy has become more like a regular clown and
Mm.
less like a black person with clown makeup. That's how I
Ugh,
would describe Killjoy.
they
It's like a
just
black
need
person. Yeah.
to relaunch it. Get Todrick in here and let's go. Come on.
He
Todrick
did the Michael
Hall.
Jackson moves. He did Michael Jackson moves in Killjoy. Did you notice?
Oh, I saw.
I
And
just think this
he's like like I loved it. Camp.
it was high peak camp 100%. And yeah, that's all I could think of. I could only see Todrick Hall playing this role.
And I also feel like I don't know somewhere along the way because the director went to NYU. He went to film school at NYU and has done a lot of film and television, it's the most like what happened while making this movie? Like, because there is some talent involved.
Right.
It just feels like something got out of people's hands, or no one wanted to actually like. You could say that the budget was low, but then it's like then do things within your budget. Like you don't need to do, for example, gunshots that are just cartoons. Like maybe just maybe we can't afford that, and we shouldn't do that because we can't afford it.
That
Yeah.
scene. That's it. Do you know that there are not many times when I watch a movie that I go, what's did that happen? Is that
Yeah.
did he spit the bullets back, but they're like highlighter marks from a pen?
Yes.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. This is a
And the
lot.
fire when the one caught on fire.
First of all, the actor, you could tell, like, okay, I want you to pretend like you're about to get on fire. And it's like he started too early before the special
Yes.
effects caught up. So he's like, and nothing is happening. It was,
Wasn't it great though? It should have. I mean, too bad it was direct to DVD. Could have won an Oscar for its effects, right? Like,
At the end, when they are convulsing for a good minute and a half,
I know that's going to be a gif.
I like when Killjoy and his now minions are chasing after Jada and whatever their names are at this point.
Monique.
Monique and what is it?
Jamal.
Jamal. So they're running and they're chasing, and we just have a chase scene. It's like Scooby Doo. It's like Scooby Doo. And my favorite line in Killjoy, I have to say this, my favorite line in this movie
There's
is,
so many.
well, he says to him, he says basically, "Who are you?" to Killjoy, and Killjoy says, "Well, it just so happens that I am an undercover drug dealer with an ice cream truck and dressed up as a clown."
Very specific.
And they get inside.
They're like, oh, drugs? Cool.
There's a line. I feel like he does a song. He sings a song at some point, but there's also a line where he's like, "That's how you cap a motherfucker," or something like that. And oh, Jesus, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for this movie.
And bust a cap in your way.
The fact that when they took Michael out to the middle of nowhere, and then they try to pretend like they're shooting him, and it's like a game of Russian roulette, and then baby boy's like, "Don't do it. What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, it's fine. It's not even loaded." And bam, killing Michael. I will say the shooting of Michael and the part where she has to stab him actually felt very traumatic. I don't know if it was just something about the actor's face. He just seemed so sweet and innocent. And I just was like not very happy with him being killed and murdered so violently.
Well, I can understand that in terms of like thematically. I think one of the most effective things the film did do was when he got shot and he didn't know he was shot.
Yeah.
When he's like, "What's wrong?" I was like, this actually has some weight to it, and it feels like this film can go in a different direction if it kept going in that direction, basically,
Right.
of actually acknowledging the fact that like this is a truly traumatic experience for some, and also if we got to explore how they felt about it after it happened, like, okay, cool, you didn't want to even do this and you didn't mean to do it, and so therefore, what are they being punished for? Are they being punished for killing Michael, or are they being punished for beating Michael? I don't get it. I still don't. I've seen it 10 times.
Yeah, and like no one went to jail. No one got in trouble. There was no like anything of like Michael. Oh yeah, Michael. Like it was just nothing.
No, we go from him being shot to a 1 year later mark with Jada walking down the street with this weird porn music on. Like, and like we just keep hearing it over and over again. Like, forget him, right?
And she has a new boyfriend, Jamal.
Right. The women
Yes.
in this movie are like, even though we get essentially two quote unquote final girls in this movie, but they're just props. They're not even, nobody's a full human being, but the Jada especially is just like not a person. She is just an object to everyone around her.
And why is and yes, I mean Jada's just an object. Jada is like a I don't know how I would describe it, but like she is just she's just a woman. Like that's like we
Yeah.
need a woman in it, and so
Yeah.
we need somebody to be wanted, and we need somebody for the audience to like. It was like I'm trying to like go through like what was going through their minds when they decided to have so long of sex scenes in this film because the sex scenes are so long. They're not
Yeah.
even necessarily graphic. They're just
No.
really long and
Long.
uncomfortable.
Yeah. And for me, when I look at the actress who plays Jada, I'm just like, you were just specifically hired for a look. That was it. Like somebody said she's got that look. The girl couldn't act her way out of a paper bag, but she's got the look. And there wasn't even enough supporting cast around her so that to like build her up. It was just bad all around. It like, I feel like maybe
Yeah,
one of the other girls could have done a better job.
I mean,
Maybe.
yeah, I mean, Vera Yell as an act. I've seen her in two things. I saw her in Killjoy. I saw her in an episode of Moesha. She was on one episode of Moesha as a guest star. And this film is a really good example of not just like actors that aren't that good, but in LA, there are a bunch of like, they're not, there are people that want to be actors that move to LA and they just get on a bus and they go out to LA and they try to make some things happen. And that's what this cast consists of. Like a bunch of people that maybe weren't that great who got this opportunity because if they were better actors, they probably would have turned it down. Like, does that make sense? Like if they were better
Yeah.
actors, they just wouldn't be in it
Yeah.
because they'd be like, something is wrong here. And this is
I
not,
think it would have
yeah,
been better if it was a student film.
I told
yeah.
when I was describing this movie to my husband, I said it's lower budget than the Blair Witch Project, and he goes, "That's not possible." I'm like, "Oh, but it is because I just watched it." Like that's what it felt like. It's
Yeah.
just like, but it didn't have the urgency of Blair Witch.
No, and Blair Witch feels like some of what made it work was because it was so low budget. That was the
Yes.
intention. And they leaned into it, which actually stretched the budget out more because they're like, okay, well let's just film in some woods. You know what I mean? We don't have to like with this film tries to do visual effects. It does makeup effects. Most of them are actually pretty good, the makeup effects. But
Yeah.
it's like you're doing makeup effects, you're doing visual effects, you're renting spaces, and you have not only you have actors and characters you don't need that
Yes.
now you have to pay. So it's like, of course, like what's the point of the girlfriend of Napiera? What is she even in this for?
Right. A titty scene and a shower scene.
That's that's why. But like, why is she here? Because she just runs away with a stock scream, and we never see her again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will
And
say if there was a makeup person and a hair person, they did a good job because I was like, oh, that makeup looks pretty good.
Uh, and I don't. I think it was low budget, but like it was still a full production. They
Yeah.
did this production. It was ran like as if it was a multi-million-dollar production. The issue is the money was not allotted to the right sources, basically. I
Right.
think that's how I see it. Like they just didn't spend it properly
yeah.
because there are films with lower budgets that look bigger than this.
Yeah.
So
where
we
did
get,
the money go?
I don't know.
The makeup,
And the renting the spaces
yeah,
and
they rent.
the CGI.
It was very good CGI though. Like it was a little bit ahead of its time. I could see why it didn't. You know what I mean? They was just, but I can tell you like the makeup was very extensive. And I think that was probably the issue is they spent all the money on Killjoy. They didn't have any money for anything else.
Right.
Like,
When that
but
guy burnt up and then he came back and they just looked like they rolled him in some ashes. Like, I was like, what? This isn't even makeup. I don't know what this is. You kind of
Somebody
look
said,
like
I have the urn of my dog remains. Let's use that. Like, it was bad.
It was real bad. Like, I wasn't really mad at Baby Boy. I wasn't really mad at Lorenzo, but Mr. Cigar was.
yeah, he looked like he cleaned a grill earlier. Yeah. He looked like he just got finished cleaning a grill. But I mean, who else? Like, it was still. It's so weird because you can see where the good parts are, and if
Mhm.
they just connected it better, like it'd be great. It'd be
Yeah.
great.
Right.
But like, I think bad actors aren't cheaper than. But that's the thing. Bad actors are not cheaper than good actors. So that
Right.
doesn't explain why the acting is so bad. Because there's scenes where they they mess their lines up and they have to repeat themselves.
Yes. I noticed that. I was like, he flubbed that line and they just kept going. Like,
Yeah.
it felt like, hey, I'm making this movie, friend. Do you want to be in it? That's what it felt like.
But
Yeah.
we've seen so many first-time directors, student films where they're like, I just got a bunch of my friends, do a better job. I don't know what this is. I really don't.
I honestly believe, and that's my thing too, because like the director, he's trained, he went to NYU. Like all of these people are like real, like people.
I don't understand. So let's get into Killjoy lures Baby Boy and T-Bone into the ice cream truck realm with the
Wait,
promise of drugs.
before we get there, because do we see, okay, maybe I'm wrong, but do
It's
we
Jamal
see,
and Jada having sex.
yes, the line in which he is like trying to get intimate with her and she goes, "Oh, I don't know." And he's like, "What is it?" And then she's like, "It's Lorenzo." And he was like, "Your ex?" And like they're literally getting like, what is she sad about? He killed a person. She knows. He's like, he's a murderer. And she's like, I know, but I lost my virginity to him. And you can't just forget that. I said, what the fuck is happening
Yes,
right
you
now?
can, Jada. Go to therapy.
But it's not even that she's saying that. She's not even emotional about it. She's
Mm-mm.
just sitting in like pity. She's just like, but it's just the way it is. Like I lost my virginity to him, and it's just. And he's like, and even Jamal is looking at her like, okay, what is wrong with you? Like, just snap out of it. Like, can we move on to the next scene? Because this doesn't make like.
Doesn't make any sense.
None.
And they then proceed to for like 80 hours
With the
on
same
nothing
music,
with
the
the same
same music
music.
loop. The loop is.
They could only afford that one track.
And
So now,
wait, well, but like they're supposed to be studying because he says, what did the teacher say? She said to study chapter 7 and 8 and test on Friday. So she's looking in the book for chapter 7. Here, chapter 7, chapter 7, chapter 7. Oh, here it is. I found it. Like she said, I found chapter 7. Just go to chapter 7.
we do not need the verbal
I
progression of
bet
you
in
finding
this
chapter 7.
script, it's not even lines for her to say out line. It's just like
Flip to chapter
Jada
7.
flips to chapter, looking for chapter 7. Like, Lord.
I'm gonna tell you one of the biggest rookie mistakes that an actor will make. They think they're good at improv, because they think because I can say anything in any moment and I can fill quiet space. But the truth is, being good at improv just means being able to be present with the people and whatever they're giving with you. That's actually true improv. So like the indication is this is probably says turn like page turn to page or chapter 7, and she in her awkward feelingness as an actor, it's like I gotta feel the quiet. Okay, chapter 7, chapter 7, chapter. I found it. Here it is. And that's what she looked like. I have the image up of when she said it too.
Oh, Jada.
Sorry, Jackie, but now I could not miss that scene because I was flabbergasted.
Sorry, I'm reading my notes and it says Jada boning Jamal, Lorenzo rapping and getting high with his boys.
Right, it's him who raps, and I'm just like, Lord,
Not great.
why? No,
It's great.
And mind you, the movie is only an hour and 12 minutes. So like some of it is just that. Like
Yep. The singing at the beginning, the rapping in the middle-ish. So Killjoy lures Baby Boy and T-Bone in to the ice cream truck realm with the promise of drugs. The amount of times they say bustas in this movie, I was like, I kind of want a running count at this point.
Also, did it take Killjoy a year to marinate?
right. Why is he here now? What happened?
Right. Or
And
did
why
he have
why
to
does
get
he
a
have an ice cream truck?
right? Did it take him a year to get the money to get the ice cream truck?
And
I
the
just
drugs.
I just
And why are they calling drugs drugs? Like why are they saying it like
Yeah.
drugs? Like,
I got drugs.
the thing about but saying drugs, it gives it this feeling of it being like an 80s special, very
right.
special episode of a sitcom. Like Arnold, don't do drugs. Like you
I've
don't do
got
drugs.
drugs. I
Yeah.
like also I just feel like in the Black community we don't just say drugs. There's always a name for something, a side name for something.
But like, what is it? What are the drugs you want? Like,
Right.
like just drugs. Like a clown in an ice cream truck is telling you I have drugs, and you get in with him.
Right. I got that good stuff. I got the something
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
Then he just gives him a joint. Oh, like it was a blunt.
Yeah.
He gave him a blunt, and he said, "Oh, it's real."
How high do you have to already be to climb into an ice cream truck, which turns into a warehouse, and accept a blunt from a clown with pointy teeth?
The way that they land is like that TV show Animorphs when they would be transforming back to human form from animal
Yes,
form. Just saying. If y'all need a visual, it was
it was. It
ridiculous.
was. It was Animorphs. It was, and they thought it was so cool on the set. They were
So
like,
cool.
y'all gonna just come out like this, and you're gonna have your head down to your knees, and it's gonna be really great. And I can assure them, like the actors probably thought this looked dumb, but they were like, we're gonna fix it in post. Trust us.
It's gonna look great.
And the other thing
The
is, they
final
were
cut.
like, yeah, there's not a lot of furniture in here. So, you know what, Bobby, here's some money. Go get some boxes. Let's build them. Fill the room. Fill the room with boxes. Nothing has to be in them, but fill the room.
Just boxes.
It's just some empty boxes, and we need this because it's empty in here, and we don't have any money for anything else.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
And get some sawdust to sprinkle on the floor in the realm to differentiate it from the bedroom.
Right. And the bedroom is lucky it had a bed.
Yeah. So, Baby Boy, somehow Killjoy has the ice cream truck in the ice cream truck and he hits and kills baby boy with the ice cream truck.
Yeah.
It was very meta.
So, and Lorenzo's not with them?
No.
Right. Because at first I got confused because I was like, wait, where's Lorenzo? But
He has
He's-
to bone the lady first.
right. Yeah.
And then T-Bone smokes the blunt. And
Which I
then-
love that they just leave in the chain fence, just
Yes.
still burning.
And he burns up. And every effect, except for the bullet wounds, every effect has like a green Maleficent tinge to it as it happens.
Jeez.
I guess that's Killjoy's signature color is the
Yeah.
acid green.
That was what
Henley-
was available in the lab. When they
And they
Were you-
disappear, yet they come back.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, they go inside the ice cream truck for one to be run over by the ice cream truck.
Yes.
Okay.
And then after they are killed inside the ice cream truck, they are dead in the real life and never actually went to an ice cream truck at all. They are where they were before they went to the ice cream truck,
And now they're Killjoy's minions
outside of the ice cream truck
outside of the ice cream truck.
and inside the ice cream truck.
Layers. There's so many layers to this movie.
So
Right.
so confused.
And so Killjoy gets them first,
Mhm.
Right.
and
then
then Killjoy,
Lorenzo
yeah,
Yeah.
owns the lady.
Right.
correct.
And she takes an hour shower with no
Yeah.
shower cap.
But she has this discussion with Lorenzo. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
So we needed some depth, for the film. They stole all those lines from Set It Off, by the way. But
Jesus.
so they just have this conversation about like where you see yourself in 5 years, and all of a sudden she just wants to get deep, and I don't like. I'm just trying to make it through the day, like
Yeah.
he's
Right.
Cleo from Set It Off, and she's just like, why would you always accept that? Why you gotta accept that? And that's it. Like,
And then she
He-
showers.
But he's like, I'm fine with everything, but don't ask me these questions. Like he gets pretty aggravated that she's
Yeah.
just even asking this.
and then she gets annoyed by him asking about him not answering the question. So she's like, I'm gonna go take a shower. He said, come back to bed. She said, no. He said, come on back to bed. She said, no. And then he said one of the most vulgar things I've ever heard on a film. And I'm like, who approved that line? Why was like, he made that line up. Nobody wrote that.
No.
I know nobody wrote that. He just said that, and they left it in.
Yeah.
Mm.
I've witnessed this, okay, on like student films, especially. Like I've witnessed this with the actors, where sometimes they will just say the most ridiculous thing, and they have no intention of it actually being there. They're just having fun, and all of a sudden, the filmmakers think that was really actually a good idea, and it's like, no, I wasn't. I was just joking around with her while making this dumb movie. Please don't put that line in the movie.
Yeah.
But
And now he's forever on film.
Saying that.
Yeah.
and she's forever on film taking a shower, and like an hour-long shower, and she's just nude, and I know she's like, why was I shot 10 seconds of footage and they just keep showing the same 10 seconds.
Just the same areola over and over
Over
again.
and over again. Poor baby girl.
How's it going, everybody? This is Chewy,
And this is Monica,
and we are from the podcast titled Exploring the Myths Behind the Legends.
where we talk about stuff like horror films, shows, and folk legends.
You can find us on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Podchaser.
Like us and give us a review.
So while she's showering, Lorenzo goes to watch TV, but he hears a noise. And so he goes to investigate, but he has a gun. And he sees big ass footprints because they're fucking clown shoes. And he continues to follow them. And then he sees the ice cream truck.
Maybe he thought it was Baby Bop or Barney, and he was like, I gotta find them.
Oh, he does go into the ice cream truck. And then he sees Baby Boy, who's all fucked up because he's been hit by the ice cream truck in the ice cream truck. And then he sees T-Bone, to which T-Bone says, look what he did to my face. Plastic surgery costs a lot.
But then he was like, you got this, though. Almost like, you'll pay for this plastic surgery? What? You're dead, boy. You're dead. Can we also talk about Killjoy's outfit?
Please
It looked
do.
uncomfortable.
I thought his green gloves for a second there, I thought they were gloves that you use to wash dishes. Like they're very floppy at the bottom. It was a choice. It was a look.
It
was something.
It looked like winter gloves that are too big for you. That you just shouldn't wear. Like really, like they look like character gloves. Like they look too much like character gloves.
Yeah.
Like it looked like it was probably a struggle to wear those gloves as an actor. Like you can't actually open things and.
Well, that's why he couldn't hold the gun. He had to spit the bullets back out at Lorenzo.
Exactly. And that's why, like, him driving the ice cream truck was just a silhouette because he really couldn't move the steering wheel.
Like two fingers are in one like finger of the glove and they're all like wonky and stuff.
I did love all the colors. He was very colorful.
He was.
Not the typical blue and red that you get with clowns.
Yeah, it wasn't a primary color clown.
No, it's a lot of spring and summer colors, I feel.
Yeah, he was the color of Barney and Baby Bop, and he actually was. Like, and BJ.
Yes, a little BJ in there.
Hey, Mr. Knickerbocky Boppity Bop. I like the way.
Their acting was about the level of Barney, by the way, like the kids.
True. It was a grown-up Barney. That's what this is.
Yes, and like on Barney, the kids are really. It works better on like their acting, like where their acting level is. But I was like, they're doing Barney level work.
Yeah,
it's the most.
Wow, did you see that? Like that kind of acting.
It's finally over. Like the amount of times they said, it's finally over. It's finally done. I'm like, this bitch is going to show back up again.
Barney,
and they're like,
I'm real sad because I used to be a virgin and the guy I had sex with killed the man and I miss him. Please help. Just fucking ridiculous.
And then of course there's the dynamic of having two women and Jamal doesn't like they're just like, let's split up. Well, we could cover more ground. Who cares? Let's look for them. Why are you looking for them?
Yeah, like
can we talk about she is sleeping and you hear brrr, buzz. It's her beeper. Babe, what's wrong? What's going on? Oh, you remember my friend Monique? She's calling. Let me call her. Grabs the phone. Do. Hello? Oh my God. What is happening? Okay, I'll be right there. What's wrong, babe? I don't know. Monique needs me. I have to go. What? You don't know what's wrong in the middle of the night.
And then this homeless man basically breaks into the house
Mhm.
and say, "Wake up! I got something to tell you because we have to explain the narrative so everybody can understand what's going on."
But
And they
why
literally
include
walk.
Monique and not just go straight to Jada's house?
Yeah.
What?
And they walk in on Old Man and Monique in a trance. And they're like, what the fuck? What the fuck is happening? And then he's like, here, hold hands. And they're just like, okay.
Okay.
She's like, tell him what you told me. And I'm still waiting for him to tell me something that
And he
matters.
goes, just do it. Like, he gets real aggro about it at one point.
And then he disappears.
That wasn't concerning to anyone.
Where'd he go? Where'd he go?
He
And he got
evaporated
that
in front
side
of your eyeballs. I'd be like, okay, I'm out. I don't know what's happening, but I'm done.
If I was Jamal, I would have been left because I have no ties to this shit whatsoever.
But this homeless man was there when Michael was getting beat up, right?
Yes.
So he witnessed all of this. Why did he? How does he know all of this?
Who is he?
And if he's a homeless man, why didn't you evaporate and disappear before? Like, I don't understand what's happening.
Is he an angel? Is he a demon? Is he just homeless with superpowers?
How do you know all of this?
Yeah.
Like, how do you know?
How did he know about the doll? Was he stalking Michael?
The homeless man would have been Michael's friend.
Is the homeless man and I was about to say Homie the Clown and Killjoy a partnership like Voldemort and Harry Potter? That one has to exist. I don't know because it doesn't make any sense.
And how does he know all their names?
Right. And where they live,
And
where Monique lives.
Well, he's had a year to research.
Gotcha.
okay, yeah. I mean, it makes sense that he had the time to research, but why is he researching? Why? You witnessed him get beat up. You didn't witness nothing else.
Yeah.
Right. It would have been really like it would have been great if he was you see him standing outside the window as Michael is doing the ritual.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of could say, okay, he knew what was going on.
And like,
right.
If you have the vision, tell them you have the vision.
Right.
Instead of just being a weird homeless man that disapparates.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
is
like,
he a Jedi?
But it's like you're telling them everything, but you're not telling them why or how,
Right.
Okay, like, listen, I'm an angel that has been sent here on Earth, and my mission is to fix whatever this blah, 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 whatever. Like, just that simple of being able to just explain it. But, like, he didn't explain anything. And he used this really weird voice. And he did the voice on Transformers. So that's why he sounds like that. Because he did. He's one of the Transformers.
Which Transformer is he?
I don't know which one. He's one of the Transformers. He did a bunch of animation, and Arthur Burghardt is his name.
I'm gonna look up.
Yeah, he did a bunch
Transformer.
of things. Yeah.
So they form the circle. He disappears, and then he told them that they have to to the ice cream truck. Is that what happened? And they have to
He
kill
tells them
that it's her, Jada, right?
And she has to kill the doll and Killjoy.
Yeah, she has to kill Killjoy and like get his human side or something and stab him in the heart. Jada heard stab him a lot.
Yeah. She got real stabby.
Yeah, it was aggressive.
And then it felt like Groundhog Day, the end, because it's like they're in the ice cream truck realm. Jamal insists on splitting up, and Monique and Jada are like, we're going to stay together. Then there's Jamal is wrestling with Killjoy, who Killjoy has magic. So how is Jamal not already dead? I did not understand. Instead, Killjoy has like a giant ass knife that gets knocked out of his hand. Jada picks it up, and then Killjoy wants a kiss.
And the way
But
that
there was
she's
like
go ahead.
the fight scene where they're like just getting punched and thrown around, even though there's clearly magic, so I don't know why he doesn't just kill them.
Right?
And then he wants a kiss because is Michael Killjoy?
That's
Because
what
it's
my
revealed.
question was. And how obvious is she like being with putting her hand behind her back as if that's not like the universal sign that you hide in something.
Yeah.
It's Jada. Listen, she didn't even know what chapter 7 was. But but like my thing is like okay, so maybe Michael doesn't know this, but if you do the spell thing, it kills you and turns you into Killjoy.
That would have made sense.
And I think that might actually be what it is. I just don't think they explained it that well. It's like kill you're making a pact with Killjoy or something,
right?
And you have to do a certain thing because then there's that part right after she doesn't kiss him and she stabs him, where the big cloud of Simba, like Mufasa Killjoy, is talking to Mufasa Killjoy is talking to Michael, and he's like,
3 strikes.
But what were the 3 strikes?
Yeah.
No.
It's dinner time! That's what he said.
At this point, I was like, "Ooh, are we almost out of this?" Because I can't do it. I can't do it.
Homeless man voiced Devastator in the Transformers cartoon, by the way, because inquiring minds need to know.
I just know I was cursing your name while watching this movie because I was like, I can't. What is this? What's happening?
And at one point, was there just a sword lying on the ground for Jamal to pick up and wield?
Yes.
I do.
Why was it there? For the filmmakers, they needed put it on the ground.
I do love that once Jada stabs Killjoy and she thinks he's gone or whatever, that it was like somebody in the background was like, 1, 2, 3. Okay, Jamal, get up. Because just the way he was laying there in the empty boxes. Then he just pops up at a
but also then we get the homeless man shows back up because they're like, yay, we did it, Killjoy's gone. And then he's like, you can't kill him in his realm, you have to kill him in the real world.
It's just isn't it just a voice though? Like it's this big booming voice. You can't kill him. It's like they're hearing it.
Danielle, you good?
You can't kill him. And they're like, okay.
I thought Killjoy was like, you can't kill me outside or inside or whatever. I just was like,
telling him on himself.
Why is this not over?
And then they're like, remember, you have to stab the doll. And they're like, oh.
Remember Jada.
The doll.
Remember.
Who you are.
And where's it? So like Jamal's family's not Jamal. Michael's family's not home.
They left
the candles are still just lit like there the way they had it. The doll is still there. Like,
and they're like transported to his room. Like they don't go knock on the door and say like, we need to get into Michael's room. They're just magically transported there. And then the doll turns into Michael.
And apparently only Jada could see that it's Michael and not the other two. So she's straddling him and the other two are like, just stab him already. Just kill him already. And she's like, I can't. And they don't know why she can't because she's seeing Michael. It's just...
But then she does.
Free at last. Or so they think.
Yeah.
I mean, I personally think the film is incredibly well made in the mind of somebody. Um, like you could tell they thought they had a masterpiece at one point.
Yeah.
They
You
really
A
could,
did.
cult classic.
they
And
knew, they were convinced. And I wonder at what point while making the movie did everybody say, this gonna have to actually come out.
well, I feel like all of the exposition was taken out of the movie. Like if he
Yes.
had just put in some like, oh, little did Michael know that his soul was going to be attached to Killjoy, or like you have to stay in the circle in order to be protected while Killjoy dies. Just something.
I
Like-
think they could have thrown in some puppets. They could, I don't know.
Something.
Literally.
I
go,
think, I mean,
go.
yeah, there's no rule set up. There's no, which means anything is possible, but then it also means that there's no way to win. There's no way
Right.
to get away because like we don't see any what's like what's happening? Like why is this happening?
Yeah.
That basic simple question has
Why?
not been answered. Why is there a doll?
Right.
Why is there a clown?
Right.
What does Jada have to do with any of this?
Right.
Like
How did Michael learn this black magic?
right.
Why is there a
an
homeless
ice cream
guy?
truck?
Yeah. There's just so many questions.
Why is there a
And
promise
after-
of drugs?
and after the bullies are dead, what is the purpose anymore? Like, okay,
Right.
Yeah,
why is
That's the
Jada
revenge.
responsible for any of this?
Yeah, why are we going after Jada? Like, yeah, she was not as like forceful with Lorenzo about like don't beat his ass, but also she was an abused woman, it seems. So like
Right.
she really couldn't do anything about the situation. She was never
Yeah.
mean to Michael. So
And the film
why?
doesn't condemn her anyway.
No.
It doesn't even. It'd be one thing if it'd be like, "Why you didn't defend me, Jay?" He
Mhm.
doesn't even
Right.
say that to her. Like,
He was just like, I love you. And I'm a little bit crazy.
Ugh.
and is that who
Well,
Michael became or who he always was?
yeah.
Because I mean, it ain't exactly common for somebody to be like, "Oh, you broke my glasses, so I'm gonna go home and do some black magic and try to get you killed."
Right.
Like, if they just showed us just a little bit, but I know they didn't have the budget to like explain certain things because it would require them to have more people and more places and more things.
But they could have said it instead of these horrible lines that we got that
Or
did
these sex
nothing.
scenes.
Right. We could have gotten some communication or conversations that made it make sense. Let's just be honest. There's nothing any of us can do on this podcast to make this movie make any sense.
It don't make sense. Have you ever noticed this? Did you notice after watching this film that it don't make sense? Like nothing actually adds up. It does not make sense.
No.
Ending.
And not even in a nonsensical way, but in a like, I think this is supposed to make sense. It just didn't make sense to the people that made it.
Yeah.
Right.
Like at some point they lost the plot.
Because she stabs the doll, they stay in the circle, the vibrations happen until the bullies disapparate. And then a homeless man appears, says thank you, does this weird thing with his hands and disappears. And then they're at a nightclub having the time of their lives.
So I'm hungry. And then they're just like, okay, so they go out to the bar and they just,
Yeah.
it's ladies' night.
And then we see Sam from class and he's real insistent, like, I sit right in front of you. It's like, and she's like, I still don't really remember who you are.
But no, the gag is, he said, are you Jada Smith? That's her name. Her name is Jada Smith. He said, excuse me, are you Jada Smith? Yeah. Who are you? Oh, I'm Sam from class. I sit in front of you. Oh, yeah, the class clown. Yeah, this is my girl. How much y'all pay to get in here? She's like, whatever, $20 each or $15 each. And he's like, oh, well, I'll give it whatever he said.
My brother owns the club.
He does. Who is he?
Killjoy. And then she wakes up screaming. But another meta part is she mentions that she's been having nightmares of Killjoy in her nightclub dream. And then she wakes up from that dream because she has dreamed about Killjoy.
Is he Freddy Krueger now? Like, what is this?
I don't know. And then Jamal's like, yo, babe, I know you just woke up screaming because you had a nightmare, but I'm horny, so we're going to get on this.
There's more sex.
And so he starts to go down on her, but then it's a little Killjoy peekaboo under the covers. She screams.
And the last line of the film is...
What? I can't remember.
That's some good pussy.
And that is Killjoy.
And then we get this. The end credits with this sexy little R&B song. You know, you make me smile. Such a funny thing, like that. By Penny Ford, who is actually a real singer.
Anwar, I really appreciate you bringing this movie into our lives.
You do open our horizons. That is for damn sure.
You ain't never gonna forget these films, are you?
And you're one for one, because when we first started watching Demon Knight, we're like, what is this? But then by the end, we're like,
this is pretty good.
We're here.
Yeah.
Right. And Killjoy is, you gotta see it so you can know how bad it is. Because if I describe it, it's not gonna land on you. It's not gonna. You really do have to see it. Because if you tell people, people are not gonna believe you. Like I genuinely don't believe people understand how bad Killjoy is unless they watch Killjoy. Like, you have to actually watch it. And even if you watch it, like, I'm gonna just laugh at it, you still notice how bad it is, and you're still gonna be having moments where you're like, this don't make sense, it doesn't add up.
Yeah.
And even some parts, like, it's not even funny. I don't understand what is happening in this film.
I implore every person listening to do yourself some justice and watch this movie. I know I'm going to make other people in my life watch this. I know it's going to be on the background at my next Halloween party, 100%.
Oh, please make Rena watch this.
I definitely will make Rena watch it.
So, Anwar, what are your social handles?
My social.
Where can people find you?
Yeah, after they watch this movie, I'm sending all of the customer service remarks to you.
Perfect. You can find me on TikTok and Instagram at the Anwar Ali, TheAnwarAli. And I will talk about things like this.
And don't forget to check us out at No More Late Fees on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and Threads. And let's get into our present day ratings for this movie. I'm not even sure.
I'm going same day rental. I'm not going to pretend that I'm going to watch this movie again.
Anwar?
It's a 2-day rental. It's a 2-day rental. And the thing is, I'm going to see it again, and I'm going to tell people about it, and I'm going to always recommend it. And I'm going to watch it again. Like, it's not good where I'm going to watch it again for quality. And sometimes, like, if I try to turn it on, I actually get annoyed by it. But once in a while, you just need to be reminded of who you are. and this film makes me feel good about myself.
That's fair.
Yeah, this is a same day rental. I am going to make other people watch it, but I'm going to walk out of the room.
You're not going to enjoy it.
No. It's a hot mess express for sure. It's American cinema classic,
It is.
but it's a mess
And it
nonetheless.
deserved to get a theatrical release because on a big screen it would look even worse. Um
Oh my God.
Oof.
I don't even think this is a cult classic situation. It's just, you ever heard of that movie Killjoy? Let me put it
no,
on
it
real
is.
quick.
I feel like it would have more of a cult status if more people just knew about it in general. I think that the first Killjoy was a very niche film
Mhm.
that played amongst a very specific audience because the first time I remember seeing the box cover, but the first time I heard somebody actually seeing the film, because I knew from the box cover it wasn't going to be good. Even when I was younger, I was just like, I know this isn't going to be good. But I was talking to someone and she was like, oh, yeah, you've got to see it because it's so bad. And then I remember in Chicago, and now it's a national show, but at the time it was a Chicago local show called Svengoolie. And he is like a horror host and he basically hosts and they air on this local channel a bunch of horror films, B list, like B movie type stuff. Sometimes I think they got a deal with Full Moon Entertainment, so they started to show Killjoy. So I saw Killjoy for the first time on local television through Svengoolie, and I got fascinated by it. I think I'm fascinated not by the film. The film's not good. I'm fascinated by the fact that the film was able to be made and released. And I wonder what was in the psyche and what was in the mind of everybody that was involved with this production. Because, like, how did it feel to be done for the day and go home and really like know that you have to go in the next day to film
Yeah.
more of this? Like, there's something that's the fascinating part to me, that doing a movie like Killjoy was a real thing that really happened. And
Mhm.
I wonder how these actors feel because I know that a lot of them probably had big dreams at one point. Most of them are not stars. Most of them haven't acted since really Killjoy, to be honest with you. And I know a lot of them hopefully, they were self aware while they were making the film that they were not doing good work. But I wonder, like, what has happened, like, how they've dealt with the fact that something like this has to be out there and they have to be seen in this light for years to come because it's embarrassing. I honestly, as an actor, that is what fascinates me about Killjoy. Is just y'all really did this movie and y'all were really there every day. Like y'all had craft services and everything. Like y'all had to make this movie.
What I'm confused about is that it's very rare for one of those direct to video movies this bad that is streaming on
Yeah.
multiple channels
Yeah, and
when
I think it
there's
was successful. I think it was actually very successful. It made its money back. I mean, they didn't spend that much to begin with, but
right.
um, I'm pretty sure like it was a hit.
Damn.
It was a hit amongst this very specific demographic. I mean, you have to understand, like Charles Band and Full Moon Entertainment, Full Moon Productions, they did like all those Puppet Master movies. They
Mhm.
did Demonic Toys. They did all of these. They even did Prehysteria. Do you remember Prehysteria, the little tiny like dinosaurs?
Yeah.
They did that. But at some point, they transitioned from having a distribution deal with Paramount into distributing their own material. And so you get things like this. And I wonder what I wonder what it felt like to be on set for Killjoy every day. Like it, I would be calling people and crying. I would feel some kind of way. I would think, I would think I'm failing at life, and couldn't have been paid more. That at the time, if a movie like this was made today, they'd be paying no more than $100 a day.
Yeah.
And at the time, it was probably lower.
Breaks my heart. It really does.
So like, damn, right? Like what was
It was
Well,
something.
it now lives rent free in my brain. So thank you. Thank you very
forever?
much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Well, there's got to be some Killjoy stands out there. Hit us up at our Quick Drop 909601 and MLF 909-601-6653. Twat us at the Twitters or hem us at the threads, and you could be featured on a future episode.
And join us next week as we continue the spooky season flicks with the Ryan Reynolds film Bolthead. That should be interesting.
We're doing deep dives.
Yes.
And Anwar, a pleasure as always.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for watching the random things that pop in my head.
I can't wait for the next suggestion.
Yeah.
It's going to be wild. I was really excited about this one.
And as always, be kind and rewind.